After the amazing response to my first comparison, I've decided to make a sequel and see what else I can find. So many scenes to break down and so many ways to display the difference in quality between Peter Jackson's masterpiece, The Lord of the Rings, and Amazon's abortion, The Rings of Power. A show that replaces the charm and wholesome nature of the Hobbits with the disgusting stench of the Harfoots. A show that destroys the prestige and mystique of Mount Doom by having some sweaty old man that stinks of piss to be the one that creates it. But this time around we will be discussing the troll battle in The Fellowship of the Ring versus the troll battle in episode 1 of The Rings of Power. After getting trapped inside and forced to make the long walk through Moria, Gandalf leads the Fellowship for 3 days. The Fellowship of the Ring is one of the best examples of how to properly introduce characters, and after the Council in Rivendell we have a very clear understanding of who they are, what they value, and why this journey is so important. We get a conversation with Gandalf and Frodo, and after admitting that he wished the ring had never come to him, he is convinced to push forward from the wise words of a wizard.
So do all who live to see such times, but that is not for them to decide. All we have to decide is what to do with the time that is given to us.
We get an opportunity to see the incredible realm of the dwarves as they pass through Moria, only to find the horror of Balin's tomb and the corpses of Gimli's kin. Gandalf recounts the last pages of their log to set the stage for things to come.
We have barred the gates, but cannot hold them for long. The ground shakes. Drums, drums in the deep.
And after days of caution and stealth, their cover is blown and the enemy is on their way. And just like in Gandalf's recount, they hear the sounds of drums in the deep. And we get a memorable payoff that was set up earlier with Bilbo and Frodo regarding the magic of elven blades.
Frodo!
Get back! They close to Gandalf!
And without hesitation, everyone gets into position and does their part to prepare for battle. Boromir rushes to close the door as Aragorn secures the hobbits.
Let them come. There is one dwarf yet in Moria who still draws breath.
Legolas throws them the axes they use to barricade the door, as Gimli snaps out of his state of mourning, ready for revenge. The four warriors fight to hold the front line as Gandalf rallies the hobbits, who are forced to fight as well, and they rush in on pure adrenaline. Only to have a cave troll break through the room moments later and try to kill Sam. He turns around, cornering him, and tries to crush him again, but he's saved by Aragorn and Boromir, pulling him off balance with the chain, taking advantage of the fact that he's on one leg. Boromir gets his hand wrapped in a chain and is flung across the room, leaving him vulnerable to the orcs surrounding him. But he's saved by Aragorn, a massive detail if you understand the dynamic of their relationship. The hobbits find a place to hide as Gimli dodges certain death. And after falling and getting out of position, Legolas saves his life with a well-timed double arrow to buy him some time. And after Frodo is trapped, Aragorn takes the troll head-on to save him and almost dies for it. when he finally pins him down and lands the blow, you get the reaction shots of Merry, Pippin, and Gandalf. A director that is aware of the relationships and what this moment means. And after showing how terrified they just were, the two hobbits don't hesitate for a second, and muster the courage to attack the troll themselves to avenge Frodo. We get a shot of absolute despair from Gandalf, understanding the true ramifications of Frodo's death. And when Sam sees him, he almost decapitates an orc with his frying pan. That's how emotional he is. Even in the middle of battle, they don't forget about character and how people would actually feel in this situation. The rest of the Fellowship work together to take down the troll and set up Legolas for the killing blow. And we get another example of what this group means to each other when we see everyone's reaction to seeing that Frodo is alive.
He's alive.
So why is this well written? In a fight with this many main characters, you have plenty of opportunities to develop them further. There are so many elements that this scene manages to balance that could have been potentially squandered, where instead of just focusing on spectacle, they go out of their way to show them work as a team under heavy pressure. They look out for each other, and they made sure to pick the right characters to make the saves as meaningful as possible. They managed to properly portray the terror the hobbits felt, while still giving them moments of courage. And rather than getting lost in the action, they make you care about the well-being of the entire Fellowship throughout the fight. These are some of the many reasons this scene is so beloved even after all these years. Now, let's compare that to the scene in the Rings of Power. We see Galadriel leading a host of elves up a mountainside. No, not the elegant elf from the Lord of the Rings that we all love and remember. Instead, we have Galadriel, the girl Barian, commander of the northern armies and protector of the realm. We see her crew make it to surface, only to see her way ahead of them. She didn't bother to wait for her men, and is in no position to help them if they need it. Not a great start.
Commander Galadriel.
This company has followed you to the very edge of the world. But none who ever dared search for this last stronghold has ever found anything.
They have apparently been on this hunt for centuries, and one of her companions pleads with her to go back.
It's been years since the last orc was sighted. Is it not possible the other commanders are right, and our enemy is no more?
And rather than just explaining her current thought process, this is her reaction.
Perhaps we would be wise to camp here, and tomorrow begin the journey home.
We are losing the light.
They cut to the next scene of them marching through a blizzard as one of the men collapses and the other asks her to wait, only to ignore them until she notices that it's actually an emergency.
Commander! Wait! No! We keep moving! Galadriel! Stop!
All the other elves stand there like NPCs as she goes over there to give him a blankie. No wise words of encouragement. Not even a smile. For a group that's been together for this many years, you don't get the sense that she cares about any of them.
There's nothing out here! We should have been there by now!
And after saying there's nothing out there, they suddenly realize that they're right in front of their destination.
Legolas! What do your elf eyes see?
Nothing. Elf eyes don't see shit, apparently, at least not anymore. She leads them forward as we get a shot of something lurking in the dark. And just in case you haven't noticed how badass she is, they have her punch through an ice wall. Cause she's a badass. The elf that has permission to speak pleads with her again to go home, mentioning that they've exceeded their orders months ago and that the sign that she found might be centuries old. This is crazy. Their feet hurt and they want to go home and take a shower. Only to be ignored again because she's a fucking psychopath.
And until we are certain, every trace of our enemy is vanquished, I can never return.
What about name?
We see one of the NPCs wandering off and bumps right into the cave troll. He runs away and they show the cave trolls right in his face. And the very next frame, he's fine. I have no idea. And then instead of warning his boys, he lets them foolishly stand there and eat a block of ice to the face. Galadriel hears the noise and rushes in to the aid of her men. She might have been a bitch on the mountainside, but she will never let them be harmed. So she charges into the room. And then she stands there. She just stands there and watches them die. And after the whole crew is wiped out and she's free to show off, she jumps into battle. Then the same elf who bitched and moaned all the way up the mountain is suddenly her squire, and sets her up to use her ultimate. And then, all the NPC elves that should be dead are perfectly fine. No limps, no bad backs, it's like it never fucking happened. And after all that, just for mentioning that they shouldn't have come here, she yells at them. And the NPCs have had enough, and finally muster the courage to stand up to this crazy bitch and stage a mutiny. One of the worst introductions to one of the worst characters I've ever seen. And for anyone who's wondering if this is the start of her arc or something, no! She's even more of an asshole by the end of the season. So why is this terribly written? Where the first battle was supported by over an hour of character development, giving you a chance to understand them and get invested. This one was in such a hurry to show you how awesome she is, they rushed into a fight 15 minutes in. 6 companions by her side, no attempt whatsoever to flesh them out. No throwaway lines to get to know them or tell them apart. No references or exposition or banter between them. No understanding of the team dynamic or their thought process. All we know about them is that they're miserable and they want to go home. And this evil elf made them climb up the side of a mountain. Any opportunity to show compassion or leadership was wasted in exchange for pure arrogance and selfishness, as she shows no emotion for them, even after establishing they've been together for centuries. She watches them get destroyed instead of helping them right away. And rather than showing us a scene of her helping them up and rallying her men, she cusses them out and walks away. It's incredible. They've created one of the most unlikable creatures of all time, and they did it in one scene. The battle in Moria was designed to bond our heroes through battle forever, and harden them for the journey to come. The battle in wherever the fuck this is was only done to show you how amazing she is. It's pathetic. Thank Christ the Fellowship had Gandalf instead of her, because they never would have made it out of Moria alive.
I wish the ring had never come to me. I wish none of this had happened.
We leave soon enough. The order is given. We march at first light.
What a bitch.